Find yourself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So Newhoff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under a safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down in towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's allowed to have fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching. The Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Sim Racing Collective and welcome back to Season 2 of the F4 Sprint. We take to one of the most fantastic circuits in the world. We take to Japan, we take to Mount Fuji to take part for another round of this fantastic championship. My name is Zach Sweeney. I've got Dean Biggles alongside me in the commentary booth. You're watching along live, both on JP Broadcasting and on the TSRC YouTube channel. Of course, we've got 2 races in store for you tonight, plus, of course, a quick qualifying session that precedes them both. Dean, coming into today, looks very, very strong.
It does as well, too. And we heard that there could be a possibility of rain, but we're not 100% sure about that just yet. I'll get those weather forecasts up. But first of all, of course, you have to go over that championship standings.
Yeah, it's very, very tight at the front of the championship. Frank Porte-Ruiz, after a fantastic double victory last time out, following some very, very consistent results before that, sees him at the top of the standings. Jamie Nartal, after a very impressive double victory at the season opener in Snetterton, has had a bit of a luck last couple of rounds, but still sat there quite nicely, barely in second place in the standings. Kieran Sharp himself in P3 with Tom Davidson rounding off the top 4. Hayden Miller behind that rounds off the top 5 ahead of Van Hoot, just off that 200-point mark. Thomas Carner ahead of James O'Reilly. Matt Acton, who unfortunately won't be joining us today, he's doing his actual photography job over in Silverstone this weekend, so unfortunately he might be losing his place inside the top 10. David Santamaria ahead of Aaron Full, that's just outside the top 10. Josh Millington from Gagli Conchavo ahead of Bobby Ross and Viardi Rumbouts, that's the top 15. Of course, you can see the rest of the names all the way through. Guillaume Hamling, Simon Norton, etc., all the way down to last place, who was unfortunately Niani Oskana in 36th place with minus 10 points to his name, of course, after not starting any of the rounds and getting himself a penalty, which is fairly remarkable in of its own right. But yes, very, very tight, very, very close. 2 races, of course, and we're right now into our qualifying session. 10 minutes of this, 15 minutes of race 1, 25 of race 2. At the moment, Biggles, it looks like qualifying at the very least is going to be nice and dry.
Yeah, there's the weather forecast currently at the moment. Well, the current weather, not the weather forecast. So you can see the humidity level there, 82%. So when you're getting up, that reminds me about Panama in the jungle, my friend, when it's really about to rain. So that's a possibility. Track temperature 27 degrees Celsius. Air temperature at 19. Keep an eye if that drops or not. And well, Zach, I guess was coming up soon. We'll pick a driver to do a hot lap of this slightly different version of this Fuji circuit.
Yeah, of course. I suppose Frank Porte-Ruiz will be good as any, really, being the championship leader and all of that. It's a fantastic venue, of course, to take to, is Fuji. Very, very suiting, actually, to the Dallara F4, which is one of my favorite cars, actually, on the iRacing service. It really does handle like a go-kart. So nice. That balance between speed and raceability. Of course, out of the final corner, it's all about getting that run on to the pit straight. Very, very long one, though. Of course, slipstream is going to be paramount over the course, not only of qualifying, but into the 2 races as well. Viardi Rombouts, Kieran Sharp, Bobby Moss, the top 3 as things stand across the line for Frank Porte-Ruiz, and I think he's just about to start his first flying lap in the session, or complete his first flying lap. No, he's not. He is about to start his first flying lap. Into turn number 1, you're looking for just after the 100-meter board into one of the heaviest braking zones on the circuit. Down, of course, a couple of gears to second, then building up that power on the exit. Being careful not to exceed on the left-hand side. Then you bring your way back over to the very, very fast turn number 3. Dab on the brakes, chuck the car in, try and keep the balance on the nose, and then be very, very careful as to not bottom out like we saw there from Porte-Ruiz through this very, very long right-hander that seemingly goes on forever. You've got to keep it tight, use the downforce, but be careful not to scrub off the front tyres too much. Heavy on the brakes a little bit, just about half pressure, trail brake through, manipulate the balance of the car. 3rd gear, 4th gear, climbing your way through towards another golden overtaking opportunity on the circuit. Of course, this chicane where we've seen action time and time again, looking for just after the Dunlop sign on the top. About 2 or so seconds after that, you're on to the brake. 2nd gear, again, being careful with the power response. Uphill, of course, very easy to drop that rear end, then into one of the most technical circuit points on the circuit, this final sector. 3rd gear, up the hill while you're braking and turning, trying to make sure that front end doesn't have too much and that rear end doesn't have too little. Up the hill once again as you head yourself into another decent overtaking opportunity on the lap this final corner, because you're going in very wide, cutting it in very tight, then putting your foot down to the line. Let's see what Frank Porte-Ruiz is going to do across the line.
I'm just wondering well, Kieran Sharp goes the fastest at the moment at 41.6. And I'm just wondering if... There it is.
Nope.
40s. Welcome to the 40 Club.
Yeah, beautifully done from Frank Porte Ruiz. Was initially 6.5 tenths quicker than Kieran Sharp, but I think thanks to his slipstream of the driver ahead, was able to put in a very, very quick lap time indeed. James O'Reilly is up there in second place in that 111 machine. Let's see what Thomas Kana can do as well. He's running his way to the line. Of course, it's the second one on the straight, not the first one that you see. He's going to be starting another lap as well, of course, down at the moment without setting a lap time in this session. Janus Wenzel as well. Just got 4 minutes left to go in this session, probably looking at only 2 or so laps. How important do we think qualifying is going to be then? Because the straight line speed and the overtaking opportunities here at Fuji, you could be looking very decent for a good race position, even if you don't qualify very well.
That's true. Yeah, long straightaways. It's kind of like China-esque and stuff like that, which in Formula One, China actually has the most amount of overtakes of any current track on the Formula One calendar. And this is a fantastic track for those overtaking opportunities, as you mentioned, especially if you have long straightaways into a hairpin. So it's going to be very crucial that these drivers, which looks very similar to what they were doing times-wise in practice, but Porte Ruiz and James O'Reilly and Kieran Sharp, they've got to be high. I really would like to, you want the front row. Get on that front row and see if you can get away, because otherwise you're going to be caught in this pack. And if you're in this pack, we've seen some fantastic racing all this season. And, well, there you go. You're going to be defending and attacking at the same time. Get out in front, and all you have to worry about is defending.
Yeah, exactly that. Get to the front, and then you've got less work to be doing for yourself. It does make, of course, for a bit of an easier job if you're already at the front, as we've said. Kieran Sharp as well sat third in the championship. Gave him some very, very good advice before the race. Of course, can't repeat it on the broadcast, as that's not fair to the others. It's definitely down to the fact that it was really good advice, and definitely not the profanity that was used along the way. Kieran Sharp, though, at the moment, is at 4th place in this qualifying session. Very, very close, though, between himself and Ron Bouts. In fairness, as well, Conchabe Santamaria and Bobby Moss as well, 5, 6, and 7. They're all very close. Again, I think it's down partly to how effective you can get a slipstream. How obviously, when you do get that slipstream, how much of a lap you're going to be able to get out of it. So, of course, that's why we're seeing some fairly big gaps overall. But in between, you can see some very, very close battles all the way through. But I think in the race, with the slipstream being as powerful as it is, with the straights being as long as they are here at Fuji, even if you are maybe half a second a lap off the pace, you might well still have a decent chance at staying with the lead fight.
I wonder how they've configured their cars as well, too, there, Zach, because I'm seeing the top speed registered from this driver, our Dutch driver, at the moment. He's 150. 150 is recorded as the top speed, at least maybe in those laps. So, and you got the rest of the field up there, averaging 147 around here for this man. James O'Reilly, another 47, 149 here for the other Dutch driver. So, I don't know. What have they tweaked the car for that straight line? Because that straight line speed, of course, you can sacrifice your way into the other sector 3, of course, as well, too. Ooh, they're battling it out here at the moment for qualifying.
That's not the smartest of ideas, I'll give it that, considering, well, to be fair, it's their last lap in qualifying with just over a minute to go, meaning that they won't be able to put in another lap time the way iRacing works. As soon as that timer ticks to the 10-minute mark, session is done, finito. Doesn't care if you're on the quickest lap of the session, it will just finish it. So it seems that the qualifying order will be as is. Of course, the good thing about this series is they're all on a fixed setup. There are no major tweaks they can make. I think there are a couple of things you can do in iRacing in regards to, I don't know, small things.
Yeah, I'm just talking about the small tweaks. That's all. Even then, I don't even think you can do that. I know you can change the visibility of the halo as David Santamaria locks the rear brakes, but obviously that doesn't affect the performance of the car. That's just the driver's preference as such. So yeah, not entirely sure. It's been a while since I've raced an F4, but I think they are all completely the same, which I suppose makes for a good thing. It means everyone is in the same boat. There are no excuses that can be made. You just have to get into the car and drive it as quickly as possible. I have a Ferrari right here right now with Matt Smith. I love these liveries. But that's the thing. But that's quite a bit of a speed difference. You got a driver doing 141 kilometers an hour down the backstretch. and then another driver doing 150. 9 kilometer an hour without tweaking the car? Zach, that's quite something. Anyway.
Well, maybe there's some cheeky shenanigans going on. Of course, we'll leave the conspiracies for James Parfitt. That's more his forte. Here's the grid, though. Frank Porte-Ruiz, Kieran Sharp, the front row. James O'Reilly ahead of Bobby Moss, 3 and 4. Viali Rombouts, great lap in qualifying, sees him in P5. Gergely Conchabo in P6 ahead of David Santamaria and Guillaume Hamling, who keep each other company on row 4. The Estonian of Thomas Carner ahead of Christian Campregna in P10. Simon Norton ahead of Quinton van Vingerden. You are seeing correctly, I think, that there was some momentary drops of rain just as we're scrolling through the grid. Simon Norton, of course, Van Vingerden, Grant Miller, Janus Wenzel, the top 7 rows ahead of Will Ellis, Thomas Martin at row 8. Adam Burks, Matt Smith alongside each other with Jamie Nuttall, P2 in the championship, P19 on the grid today. He's got some work to do to get his way forward. Gareth Ronda in P20 to round off the 20-car grid. And our eyes, Biggles, do not deceive us. I think we're going to go to a race 1.
Well, this is one thing I wanted to tell you about. We have drivers that are actually electing to start on dries, and some drivers are electing to start on wets, although some of the drivers are changing over from the dries to wets. I can't show you anything for those graphics, unfortunately, just yet. I'll see if I can pull that up, because it's the first time we'll have this fancy. Should have this fancy. Still waiting for a few drivers to load in, which I think that's exactly what's happening, Zach. They're sitting there contemplating with their engineers. Where do we go? Dries or wets? It's going to be a very difficult situation, isn't it? Because how much of the rain's coming down? How much time are you going to lose if you gamble out there on those wets? Which about, give or take, you can probably see it too, Zach, right? About 5 drivers, do you think, currently at the moment on these wet weather?
Yeah, see, the thing is, when it comes to tracks like this,
I got it now.
And you always have sort of that split strategy, is you have to go with the track as it is right now. We'll find out what was the best decision. 15 minutes of race 1. Porte-Ruiz, Kieran Sharp, the front row. We are underway here in Fuji. Nice little getaway from the front row, but it's carnage and chaos in the back, momentarily 5 wide for the final 5 positions. This is where we're going to see slicks or wets. What was the better decision as they head their way into turn 1 with complete uncertainty, flying blind as they run 3 wide through turn 1. Nicely done as they all try and settle their way into the rhythm. Gergely and Chabo doing nicest to mandate that P6. Santa Maria on slicks, moving up some great positions. The top 4 settling into this race, all on that dry compound of tyres. Now, is it just a case of there's not enough standing water to make the wets work, or have they made the wrong decision?
I think you're right on that one. You can actually see at the moment, nope, the position gainers and losers, and Consalvo is, well, he's had a little bit of a moment, and that's wet weather tyres too, So, Zach, sorry. Yeah, you can see at the moment that the wet weather drivers have all lost positions for now. But if everybody has to, the rest of the field have to jump in if it gets too wet to put those wet weather tyres on, well, you don't have to take a pit stop so early.
Yeah, exactly that. But I suppose sometimes it is worth a try. Side by side, though, this is the fight for P2. Kieran Sharp under pressure as Viadi Rombouch tries to go the long way around. Nicely done, as Kieran Sharp is now susceptible to not 1 but 2 positions lost. Immediately on the attack as well is David Santamaria as he tries to attack the number 18 machine of the Flying Dutchman. They're battling their way for P2. The track is changing corner by corner. Nicely to the inside goes the number 8 machine. Santamaria up into P2, but a flying first lap for our championship leader.
This is absolutely fantastic racing. This is what you want to see. 3 abreast now, Zachary. 3 abreast into turn 1. This is what the first thing... Oh, sorry. We have to get rid of those grandstands because it's blocking the camera. Here we go. Chopper cam. Hold on tight. Close your eyes.
As they work their way into turn number 1. Kieran Sharp back on the inside. Rombouts goes the long way.
I lost you there for a second, Zach. Are you back?
As
Okay.
Kieran Sharp is fighting his way through. Apologies, I think we might be experiencing some technical difficulties in regards to some Discord voice chat.
James.
Oh, goodness me. James O'Reilly, round at turn 3.
Yeah, he keeps it out of the fence. I've seen a few little moments as you come to expect it because it's look at those, it's the wet tyres. They just can't find just enough grip, of course, to keep them cold. They're probably overheating at the moment, but you can see every single driver current in the moment on that grid is almost plump at the end of the field, apart from Mr. Miller. And I think he was involved in an accident.
Through the chicane, up over the crest. Of course, here. As they continue to run, of course, through the final sector. Kieran Sharp, they're in 4th. Again, trying to keep some pace with Santa Maria, but within a shout. Let's take a look back as to what happened to Frank Porte-Ruiz, because that gap at the front definitely has closed.
He's made a little mistake here, I'd say. Yeah, he's just gone a little bit too deep. Maybe. I don't know if that could be counted.
For a big mistake to be made.
Yeah, you can see it currently at the moment, so. But then again, that's the reason why I had that nice lead up the road there, so you could afford yourself a couple of little mistakes in these tricky conditions. And he's just pumped in another fastest lap to rectify that little mistake that he made. On board, Kieran Sharp.
Here he is. Into the braking zone of turn 3, and again, it really is becoming a braking zone. The spray is getting worse. The clouds become more daunting overhead. Maybe we will start work. The chicane as well, and you can see Kieran Sharp still running on board with him.
Yeah.
Santa Maria goes in a little bit wide. Unfortunately, gentlemen, you will have to just we are suffering a couple of problems, let's say, with the stream as of yet. I think Discord's have
yeah, you're cutting in and out a lot there,
to...
Zach, so that's okay, but I mean, just do our best. We can still hear the engine sounds at least. Spare us 1 second. We'll still get those pictures going. I'm just going to try to get the audio back with Mr. Zachary as we keep the pictures up there of this close battle for the top 4. And that's another spinner at the moment. It looked to be like it was Consalvo. A few other drivers having some issues. That's because he's on the wet weather tyres. Now, there's still gambling out there on the wet weather tyres. No, further up in the field, they're starting to spread out a little bit, but the sun is starting to peek out of the clouds there. Zach, do you have a copy at all?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. We just got to... I can hear you.
Discord can keep up. But yeah, fingers crossed. Of course, we are working as hard as we can. Oh, well, Biggles is. I'm not. I just... I sit here and talk when it works, basically. Of course, at the moment, Frank Porte-Ruiz is leading. That's that 22 machine that you see right there. Viardi Rombouts, they're in second place as well. Santa Maria, this 4-car battle at the front. Just over halfway through race number 1, and it seems that the sun is coming out a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. You can see it. But the pace of the track is still not coming to those wet weather tyre drivers who are still gambling on it at the moment. So even though they're going to lose a ton of time. We'll get that track map up in a second. Sorry, I've just got all these graphics and we're just trying to help out you. Is this pictures better for you as well? There, Zachary, I know that the audio is still having some problems.
The picture's definitely better, so that's always a good start as such. Hopefully things can be look on the up and up when it comes to the rest of the broadcast. If not, well, I suppose we'll try again. There's a move to the inside from Vialli. Runbout's going the long way around. Santa Maria trying to attack on the inside line. No way through for now, though, and they all took back in a single file.
They're still beat at it too for now. You can see on that track map as well too. Those are the drivers that are on the wet weather tyres are way back here, just entering into sector 2 or so for everybody else practically in the sector 1. A massive gap. And I think at this point your gamble's not paid off anyway, because even if you do take a pit stop, well, we don't know how long the pit stops, give or take. We do have a driver going in pit road right now, but we'll keep an eye on those times. Christopher has gone into pit road. It's about 36 seconds. There's no one who's really accurate in iRacing, but give or take, let's say for example, think about between 30 and 40 seconds going to take you to get it in out. Yeah, they've already got so much a commanding lead over the rest of the field that staying out on dries is still very much the right choice.
Exactly that. Seems to be the better call. Of course, just sort of going with the track that you've got at the moment, not trying to be a hero, not trying to make that do or die call, because yeah, maybe one in every 10 races you try and be a hero, you might be able to, of course, find a way to get a big jump on everyone else. But the other 9, you're going to be left stranded, maybe with an extra pit stop. That lines being put down, of course, well, the lines are ever changing. Everything is always going to be different, and there's not really much you can do. As soon as you go offline, you lose so much grip.
Yeah, so you're cutting it out again. It's very difficult. This is getting just a little bits of your conversation. We might actually have to, because we would like to do the absolute best quality levels of productions that we can do, and with this cutting in and out and having some issues, it's not going to be very professional for us. So I do feel that we might have to, unfortunately, end the broadcast and then redo it again at another time, like we have done before from replay there, Zachary. So if you want to wrap things up for now, or do we want to finish this last 5 minutes for the first heat one if we can get through it?
Well, again, it's all down to the viewers themselves, isn't it? I think that with the issues that we're having, it might well be best for everyone as all. Goodness me, actually, we'll talk about that for just a second, because big bit of drama. That'll be interesting to watch back through when we get to the replay of this race. Of course, those two coming into contact with each other. Nicely done for the 18 machine to continue on. Of course, Vialli Rombouts, but not nicely done for Santa Maria to now be out of this race. On that bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, I think we might be able to wrap things up. Of course, we'll see you back when everything is sorted, sort of technologically wise, and we can be back in to give you guys the best show possible. For myself, Zach Sweeney, Dean Biggles alongside me. Unfortunately, it's going to be a goodbye for now, but do stay tuned, because the TSRC F4 Championship is one to watch. We'll be back as soon as we can. We'll let you know, of course. Make sure you're up to date with TSRC on the socials to make sure, obviously, when the broadcast gets redone and everything. But at least you know how the first 11 minutes and 43 seconds of the racing went. Unfortunately, ladies and gents, it is goodbye for now.